Then friends, let's start the today's newspaper reading, and the first news is about the Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court, SC refuses to list Kejriwal's plea to extend interim bail, and like Kejriwal is doing campaigning for their party, Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi or across the border area, and he is on bail in the liquor case. In that case, SC refused to list Kejriwal's plea to extend interim bail. And second news is about the Delhi broils. Mughal Sarai gazes record 52.9 degree temperature. Like this is the news that is making us in trouble. Why? Because the temperature outside the home, especially in the Delhi, are like breaking record every time. Imagine the 14 like 52.9 degree, which is far like higher to the normal temperature of body, and if it grows 55 is challenging for the people of Delhi to live in that region, and it is continuously on the urge to rising due to global warming and due to like change in environment. I like to have your more uh, detail on that topic, and like this report is issued by the Indian Meteorological Department, and on Twitter, that is now X, Minister of Earth Science Kiran Rijiju said that it is not official yet, but temperature of 52.3 degree in the Delhi is very unlikely, and the temperature was a departure of 30 degree from the normal. See the difference, and it is higher than the previous record of 49.9 degrees Celsius recorded the previous day. And now this is the May. In June we will also see some kind of rise in this until the monsoon came. And friend, we have to think deeply in this way of tackling, and we like have long term solution as well as our short term solutions. And in my opinion, it is to acclimatize ourselves in a way of living that is very cooperative with the nature, like planting tree, reducing carbon emissions, and using eco-friendly things, ban on like polythenes that create pollution, that itself create obstacle in many other natural processes, water cycle completions, and many more. Let's move on to the next news. And friend, again this news is also from the Delhi, that Raj Niwas Bhardwaj spares over city's ability to deal with the heat wave. Delhi government not serious in dealing with the heat. LG office tells Chief Secretary order 3 hours halt on construction work. Saxena misleading public up. As in the Delhi specifically, because the temperature is above 50 degree, the problem of water, problem for the people in transport are rising. And as the problem rises, in for that the politics active, and politics start. It's a blame game process start. LG on the governor, LG on the government, and the government on the lieutenant governor is like uh, I I don't know who will see the constructive path and like the way forward. Move on to the next news. Friend, as another important news of today is about 8 more people Telangana youth identify in Cambodia fake call center scam. As this is the news that is gaining momentum, in this news, the people from India in the search of employment go to the South Asian countries or the ASEAN countries, in specifically in Cambodia, where they get the trap on in the name of call center, and they just forced to make fraud calls and to lure money. As soon as the ministry get to know about this racket, they just bring back the people into their own town, and like in that process 8 people are more identified of state of Indian state of Telangana. And like this, while going to the abroad in search of employment, it's often happen with the uh, people that they just their passport is uh, taken away from that them, and just force them to do a selective task. And like this question that is the situation and the static regarding this situation, this news particularly is rising up in not only in the ASEAN countries but also in the like Arab countries too. Some get their passports and came back and revealed this much of the story. And this is the the example of forced labor and the slavery that is the turn into the modern form. It is should be curbed as soon as possible with the effective actions of the state authorities, as well as one individual while going abroad should keep these circumstances and their check all this environment over there where he or she is going to work. This is the news about the early onset monsoon set to arrive in Kerala in today. Is I have a question for you that the state. Tell me the name of that state where the monsoon come first, and which type of monsoon we experience. As it is a north, is a northeast monsoon, or it is a like southwest monsoon or something else. Let's come to the editorial of The Hindu. And in today's editorial, the first point is about the insidious and incendiary. India's policymakers must address the threat of building fire. And the recent two event of firing at game center in Rajkot, Gujarat, and a newborn nursing clinic in the Delhi within 24 hours of each other, which left over 30 deaths, is another grim reminder of India's insidious threat, the perceived nature of negligence of safety uh, of fires during construction of building. In that news, it's the editor bring out the detail of financial requirement to modernize the Indian fires like safety and protocol. And according to the 13th Finance Commission's, an allocation is around 7,000 crore, but the commissions ought to be allocations of almost 90,000 crore. See the difference. And in a Rajya Sabha verifications, the statistics talk about given by the ministers that the Rajya Sabha note at India has only 377 fire stations, when our 2012 national report on fire hazards and risk management showed more than double the number. The staff shortage is even more appalling. The entire country had only about 55,000 fire servicemen in 2029, but actual requirement is more than the double and triple. It is about 5,60,000. And the central belated also given some step of given 5,000 crore last July, say, asking center to like cough off another 1,400 crore to do modernize emergency services. Friend, like these kind of disasters I can say, and this kind of things can be preventable with the measures of or like while making and building uh, the buildings, we just ensure proper fire safety so that the life of people can be saved and we can avoid the damage of human life as well as the resources. Move on to the next, India liberalism and its crisis of legitimacy. And this is article about the view of like Shashi Tharoor, who is a prominent leader of Congress and like have been member or representative of India's from India's to the UN, and right now he is a member of parliament from Kerala, and he talk about the India's political circumstances and like liberalism and the right wing approach. This editorial is about dispelling population myths triggered by a working paper. It talk about the recent the rising of issue of increasing population of selective group or selective religion. Like in the recent time election is going on, and in that election the issue of rising population of Muslim religion is perceived as a threat to the Hindu religions and Hindu population, and it is the article that talk about the real aspect and the news that is interpreted in a different way. Move on to the next news. This is news about the Trump is facing legal challenge, but the political fortune are on a parallel track. Like we are having election now, and in November the US is facing election, and in this election the higher the chance of winning of Donald Trump, and there is two party in the US, that is Republican and the like Democrat. Democrat is the Joe Biden's, and Republican are has the Donald Trump. And like Donald Trump is facing challenge or facing the criminal charges under the falsification record, and has some of the allegation under Capitol Hill attack on the previous term, this transferring of while having transfer of power. And if Trump come into the power, he has different opinion and different perspective regarding the geopolitics, like the Ukraine Russia war and the NATO and the uh, China. And if Trump come into the power, it definitely impact the China US relation, Russia and the US relation, or India US relation, because US under the presidency of Donald Trump keep China's as an bay and consider as a threat. He is the Donald Trump who started the trade war between the US and the China, which benefit India a lot. This is the news that like give some focus to the Andhra and Telangana have many of the India's richest MP candidate, and it's like evident that the rich people are coming into the politics and contesting elections, and like the profession that is considered very much a service, now in that service wealthy people are coming and like serving in a better way. It's remain to be seen how effectively they delivers their goods to the common man. This news is about the expected increase in the India's natural gas demand in 2024. Saving in the percent that is rise driven by higher usage in the industrial and fertilizer sectors. Also, heat wave across the country will create a surge in the power consumptions, and natural gas demand had increased by 10% in 2023. Move on to the next news. The largest help package Sweden has sent to Ukraine, $1.23 billion. The support package will be the 16th from the Sweden since the Russia full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The donations include two SS SSAB, ASCC air bomb early warning and control aeroplanes. The news is threats carrying balloons found to be South Korea's military. 260 North Korean flew hundreds of threats carrying balloons towards South Korea in one of its most bizarre provocating actions its arrival in this year. And another news is climate dues cleared by rich nations after 2 year delay. Hundred in billions wealthy country meet their target of providing annual climate aid to the poor countries for the first time in 2022, and the OECD said. This news is about the an overview of Amrit scheme, and it's highly likely that the question can be asked from the AMRUT schemes. What is it and how it is working? Which is the nodal agency that implement this scheme, and what is the way, impact on ground? Like the Amrit scheme is Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation scheme was flagship program launched by the NDA-1 government in June 2015. The aim of this scheme is to ensure every household has accessibility of tap, assure supply of water and sewage connection, increase the value of cities by developing greenery and well-maintained open space such as park, and reduce the pollution, switch to the public transport or constructing facility of non-motorized transport. Amrit was made for cities with no participations of the cities. It will quite mechanical in design. I share some of statistics with you. Around 36% of India's population is living in cities, and by the 2047, it will be the 50%. The World Bank estimated that the 840 billions is required to fund to bare minimum urban infrastructure in the next 15 years for Atal Mission Rejuvenations and Urban Transformation Scheme. In that scheme, the government is working to meet the standards and providing the better infrastructure for the peoples in the urban area and the newly developed urbanizations of cities. This is the news that new policy designed to deny government jobs to the kin of militants in Kashmir. Security agencies background check expand to the cover relatives on both marital and paternal side. Regional parties have slammed the move, claiming that it will be alienate Kashmiri youth. The latest policy overturned three government rehabilitations policy for more president. A friend, it is a move that is like operated to keep the militarily keep the Indian army's interest and strategic infrastructure in Kashmir safe, because an individual who involved in the stone spelting and the relative will also face the consequence. And by law, it is a application of force that we have seen in the Uttar Pradesh in Yogi model, and to the up to the some extent it's working, and it's remain to be seen how effectively it's give result in Jammu and Kashmir. While the local party have raised concern over this scheme. Friend, this is the very important news from the perspective of defense, as Rudra M second air to surface missile flight test successfully by the DRDO on Wednesday, and this flash test is indigenously developed Rudra M second air to surface missile from the Sukhoi 30 MKI, and this test is take place in Odisha, and it's in this happening of test the DRDO stated that it attained remarkable result, and they just given another boost to the modernization to the indigenizations of defense. This news is about the in jail, but Amritpal has a punchy campaigning about the impact of Amritpal fugitive in having remark against India's sovereignty and integrity, and like jailbreak case in Punjab have an impact on like few seats in politics of Punjab. This news is about the regulations and integrations of EU regarding the technology. EU recently has created AI office to regulate technology under tough new law. Move on to the next news. UK Sunak and Labour leader Starmer to the debate next week as the election is scheduled in UK from the first week of June. Saudi Arabia expelled 6 Iran state media journalists ahead of Hajj, and Israeli army said it has taken the control of key Gaza Egypt corridor. Ramaphosa is confident of ANC victory as South Africa vote in the pivotal poll, and Ramaphosa is the current head of South Africa. Spirit of UN dead in Gaza, say Erdogan. Friend, when the question of role of mediations of UN come, is very much ineffective to dilute the conflict, whether it is Israel Palestine conflict or Ukraine Russia war and the Armenia Azerbaijan issue and like the Taiwan and the China conflict and any other. That's why the India raised question, and the relevancy of UN itself in the has facing the questions that it should be practical and relevant to the now, or it should needed reform. Suspected militant burned girl school in northwest Punjab. Like this is the another impact on the educations of uh, children in Pakistan, and like the girls education is very low in Pakistan or in Afghanistan, and that kind of activity will create fear, and the when the education is not imparted in a right way to the children, it impact has long term impact to the future of that country, and then these circumstances evolve as the financial crisis and as the like political crisis that are going on in the Pakistan. That news come on to the sports section, like three-way race backbone VI New Zealand and Afghanistan, and it's about the Sunil Chhetri. He is the India's captain of Indian football team, and recently take retirement from Indian football team. He is one of the highest goal scorer in the football tournament, and he just give another dimension to the football and like the recognitions of football. And by an individual personality, he's a great man, and a lot of things can be learned from the man, and like a truly inspirational personality. This another news is about the remarkable metamorphosis and resurgence of the Knight Riders. This time the Kolkata Knight Riders has won the IPL trophy. This news is about the new light-based tool could cut cost of spotting viral infections, and a viral infection can stress cell and change their shapes and size. As the infection gain the upper hand and the body become disease, the change become more stark. Researchers have translated the cellular change into pattern that can be used to say if a cell has been infected. A diagram that is like shown here, and test setup which could reduce the cost of testing of livestock for virus. And that's from my side. Jen, see you soon.